The space station, a colossal structure floating in the vast emptiness of the cosmos, hummed with a sense of anticipation. Its crew, a group of intrepid explorers, had embarked on a mission of scientific discovery. But little did they know that the confines of their metal sanctuary would soon become a nightmarish battleground. It started with a routine analysis of an extraterrestrial liquid sample collected during a daring spacewalk. The crew had discovered a mysterious substance on the surface of a distant planet, shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Intrigued by its potential, they had sealed the sample within a secure containment chamber for further study. As the hours turned into days, the crew members conducted experiments, studying the alien liquid's properties, hoping to unlock its secrets. But they soon realized they were dealing with a force beyond their understanding. The liquid seemed to possess a sentience of its own, constantly shifting and reshaping, as if alive. It oozed through microscopic crevices, evading their attempts to contain it. Its movements were fluid, mesmerizing, and yet, there was an unsettling quality to its behavior. As the days progressed, the crew members began to notice peculiar changes in their environment. Tools vanished, appearing days later in odd places. Equipment malfunctioned without logical explanation. And a pervasive dampness clung to the air, as if the very walls of the space station were perspiring. Unease settled upon the crew like a heavy fog. They communicated in hushed whispers, their eyes filled with a mix of dread and confusion. They couldn't escape the feeling of being watched, of being surrounded by an unseen presence. And then, the encounters began. It started with small, inconspicuous incidents, a crew member glimpsing a shadowy figure out of the corner of their eye, a whispered voice echoing through the corridors, barely audible but undeniably present. But as the days wore on, the encounters intensified, becoming more tangible and terrifying. One crew member woke to find themselves submerged in a pool of the alien liquid, their body paralyzed as it enveloped them, seeping into their every pore. They screamed, their muffled cries lost in the viscous embrace. It took the combined efforts of their comrades to pry the creature away, but the experience left an indelible mark on their psyche. Another crew member reported being pursued by a shapeless entity, a liquid mass that slithered and flowed, chasing them through the labyrinthine corridors of the space station. It seemed to defy gravity, climbing walls and squeezing through impossibly narrow gaps. The crew members' once united front began to fracture as fear took hold. Paranoia seeped into their interactions, suspicion poisoning their every thought. No one knew who to trust, who might be the next victim of the liquid's insidious advances. Desperate, they barricaded themselves in separate sections of the space station, cutting off communication in an attempt to protect themselves. But isolation only heightened their terror, their imaginations running wild with the grotesque possibilities of what lurked beyond their sealed doors. Days turned into nights, and sanity slipped further from their grasp. The crew members became haunted, their faces etched with exhaustion and horror. Sleep became a luxury they couldn't afford, for fear of waking to find the liquid creature slithering across their bodies. As the crew dwindled in number, consumed by the liquid's relentless assault, a final showdown loomed. The survivors, driven by desperation and a flicker of hope, gathered in the central hub of the space station, armed with makeshift weapons and frayed nerves. The liquid creature materialized before them, its form a writhing mass of inky tendrils, undulating with a perverse grace. It moved with an uncanny fluidity, as if the laws of physics held no sway over its dark essence. Each tendril snaked and coiled with a life of its own, reaching out like probing appendages, seeking out its prey. As the survivors watched in dread, the creature surged forward, its movements defying all logic. It seemed to glide effortlessly across surfaces, defying gravity as it traversed walls and ceilings with an unnatural ease. The sight of the creature slithering along the smooth metal surfaces sent shivers down their spines, the sound of its wet, sucking movements echoing through the confined corridors. The tendrils, slick and glistening, lashed out with alarming speed. They struck with a precision that bespoke an intelligence behind the liquid horror. Each touch of the creature's appendages left behind a trail of corrosive residue, eating away at the surrounding materials. The walls, once pristine, now bore the scars of the creature's invasive presence, eroded and weakened by its touch. The survivors fought back, their weapons swinging through the air, but the liquid creature seemed to anticipate their every move. It slithered and split, dodging their attacks with an eerie grace, merging back together seamlessly. It was as if the creature was mocking their feeble attempts, reveling in their futile resistance. The room was filled with the stench of a damp, metallic decay, a sickly sweet odor that permeated the air. The survivors struggled to breathe as the creature's tendrils reached out, seeking to suffocate them, their slick surface constricting around their throats with a suffocating grip. Their panic intensified as they realized that the creature was adapting, evolving. It grew in size, its amorphous form expanding and contracting, filling the space with its oppressive presence. The once sterile environment was now tainted, its pristine walls covered in a slimy film, and the very air seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. In a final act of desperation, the survivors unleashed a torrent of fire, engulfing the creature in searing flames. But even as the tendrils writhed and charred, the liquid creature fought back, refusing to succumb to the destructive force. The battle raged on, a clash of wills and survival instincts. The survivors, their bodies battered and minds frayed, fought with a tenacity born of desperation. They knew that this was their last chance, their final stand against the relentless horror that had infiltrated their sanctuary in space. In a moment of sheer determination, one survivor managed to deliver a crushing blow, striking the creature with a series of calculated strikes. The tendril spasmed and recoiled, a guttural cry emanating from the depths of the creature's murky core. With a final surge of energy, the survivors unleashed one last assault, tearing the liquid creature apart, dispersing it into a dark mist that dissipated into the air. Silence settled upon the space station, broken only by the sound of labored breathing and the distant hum of machinery. The survivors, exhausted and haunted by the horrors they had witnessed, surveyed the aftermath of their battle. The once vibrant space station was now a shadow of its former self, scarred by the invasive presence of the liquid creature. As they gazed into the abyss of the cosmos beyond, the survivors couldn't shake the feeling that something lingered out there, a primordial darkness waiting for its next opportunity to strike. The memory of the liquid creature would forever haunt their dreams, a reminder that even in the vast expanse of space, terrors unknown could lurk in the shadows, awaiting their chance to breach the boundaries of their perceived reality. With a heavy heart, the survivors made their way back to the control room, piecing together what remained of their shattered lives. They knew they couldn't escape the lingering terrors of their encounter, for the liquid creature had left an indelible mark on their souls. In the days that followed, they tirelessly worked to repair the damage inflicted upon the space station. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't erase the memories of the creature's relentless pursuit. The crew members would occasionally catch glimpses of liquid-like shadows out of the corners of their eyes, or hear the faint sound of slithering in the vents, reminding them that the creature's presence still lingered, even if its physical form had been vanquished. As time passed, the survivors questioned their sanity, unsure if what they had witnessed was real or a manifestation of their collective trauma. They found themselves on constant edge, plagued by nightmares of suffocating tendrils and the acrid scent of decay. Whispers of the incident spread among future space missions, cautionary tales of the liquid-based creature that had nearly claimed the lives of the crew aboard the space station. The story became a legend, a cautionary reminder of the uncharted horrors that awaited those who ventured into the depths of space. But even as the survivors tried to move on, the thought lingered, a chilling uncertainty. What if the liquid creature had not been an isolated anomaly? What if there were other entities, lurking in the vast cosmic expanse, waiting to be discovered? The crew members couldn't help but wonder if they had stumbled upon a dark secret, a glimpse into a hidden realm that defied human comprehension. Years passed, and the survivors went their separate ways, haunted by their shared experience. They tried to lead normal lives, burying the horrors they had witnessed deep within their souls. Yet, a part of them knew that the liquid creature had left an irreversible mark, forever altering their perception of the cosmos. Despite their best efforts to move on, a sense of unease lingered within each survivor. They couldn't escape the nagging feeling that they were being watched, that the tendrils of the liquid creature still slithered in the shadows of their lives. Strange occurrences plagued their existence, objects inexplicably moving, whispers carried by the wind that seemed to speak of their deepest fears, and inexplicable puddles of an alien substance appearing in their midst. Their minds became fertile ground for paranoia to take root. They questioned the very fabric of reality, unable to trust what their senses conveyed to them. Was it all in their heads, a collective delusion born from the trauma they had endured? Or was there something more sinister at play, an insidious force that refused to relinquish its grip on their lives? One by one, the survivors found themselves drawn back into the abyss of the unknown. Their paths converged again, driven by a shared compulsion to uncover the truth that eluded them. They retraced their steps, returning to the ruins of the space station, hoping to find answers amidst the remnants of their past ordeal. But what they discovered was beyond their worst nightmares. The space station, once a symbol of human ingenuity and exploration, had transformed into a twisted, pulsating hive. The walls, no longer made of sterile metal, undulated with a sickening rhythm, as if alive. The survivors navigated through a labyrinth of shifting corridors, each step punctuated by a wet squelching sound, the sickening echo of the liquid creature's presence. Time seemed to lose its meaning as they ventured deeper into the heart of darkness. The survivors' senses were assaulted by a cacophony of voices, a dissonant chorus of whispers that slithered through the air. The liquid tendrils, once contained, now coalesced into grotesque figures, contorted amalgamations of flesh and inky substance, pulsating with an unholy vitality. Every corner they turned held a new horror, a room filled with pulsating sacs, each containing an embryonic form trapped in an eternal state of suffering, corridors that stretched into infinity, leading them deeper into the abyss of their nightmares, and glimpses of shadowy figures, flickering in and out of existence, their distorted forms taunting the survivors with glimpses of their own tortured faces. Dread clung to their every breath as they approached the heart of the hive, a pulsating chamber where the entity that had once been the liquid creature awaited them. It had grown in size, a grotesque amalgamation of liquid and flesh, its form constantly shifting, as if trying to decide on a singular shape. The survivors felt their minds unraveling, their grip on reality slipping. They wondered if they had entered a realm beyond comprehension, where the laws of physics and sanity no longer applied. Madness beckoned them, promising an escape from the horrifying truth that lay before them. In a final act of desperation, they unleashed a torrent of gunfire and flame, but the entity seemed to absorb the onslaught, growing stronger with each attack. The survivors' weapons were futile against its amorphous form, as if their very existence was inconsequential in the face of such malevolent power. And then, darkness swallowed them. When the survivors awoke, they found themselves in a desolate wasteland, an alien landscape devoid of life. The hive had vanished, leaving behind only the remnants of their shattered reality. Were they trapped in a distorted dimension, forever condemned to wander the desolate expanse? Or had they crossed a threshold into another plane of existence, a realm ruled by the liquid creature and its insidious agenda? The survivors moved cautiously, their every step weighed down by a suffocating sense of isolation. The air hung heavy with an oppressive silence, broken only by their own hushed whispers. The landscape stretched before them, an endless barren expanse devoid of any landmarks or signs of life. As they ventured deeper into the desolation, a creeping realization took hold: they were not alone. Shadows danced at the corner of their vision, flitting in and out of existence like wraiths. Whispers echoed through the air, faint and fragmented, carrying with them hints of malevolence. The survivors couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes fixated upon them. Time lost all meaning in this enigmatic realm. The days blended into nights, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. The survivors' minds frayed, teetering on the precipice of madness. They questioned their own memories, their own identities, unsure if they were still human or if they had become mere extensions of the liquid creature's twisted will. In their desperate quest for answers, they stumbled upon an ancient ruin, a structure rising like a monolith from the desolation. Its architecture defied earthly comprehension, its intricacies beyond human design. With trepidation, they entered, hoping to find solace or perhaps a revelation that could free them from this ever-deepening nightmare. Inside the ruin, they discovered a chamber bathed in an eerie, ethereal glow. Symbols etched into the walls pulsed with an otherworldly energy, casting dancing shadows upon the survivors' faces. They could sense a presence, an intelligence that permeated the air, an ancient force that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. Whispers intensified as they approached the central dais. The survivors exchanged wary glances, their hearts pounding in anticipation and dread. Was this the source of their torment? Would the enigmatic entity reveal itself and offer them an escape, or would it consume their very souls? With trembling hands, one of the survivors reached out, their fingers brushing against a symbol carved into the dais. A surge of energy coursed through their veins, an electric shock that resonated deep within their core. Visions assaulted their mind, a tapestry of cosmic horrors, ancient truths, and the true nature of the liquid creature that had plagued their lives. As the vision subsided, a voice whispered in their ear, soft and melodic, yet laced with a chilling undertone. It spoke of the liquid creature's purpose, to break the boundaries of existence, to challenge the order of the cosmos. It was a manifestation of chaos, an embodiment of primordial forces that sought to devour all that stood in its way. The survivors understood the enormity of their situation. They were mere pawns in a cosmic game, caught between the machinations of forces beyond their comprehension. The entity offered them a choice: to embrace the madness, to join the ranks of the liquid creature, or to resist, to fight against the encroaching darkness with every ounce of their dwindling strength. With a renewed sense of purpose, the survivors turned their backs on the entity's temptations. They vowed to resist, to defy the liquid creature's insidious agenda, and to find a way back to the reality they once knew. As they left the ruin, the desolation shifted around them, the landscape morphing and contorting. Time resumed its relentless march forward, and the survivors found themselves back in the physical world, their bodies battered and their minds scarred. But the horrors they had witnessed were not easily forgotten.